Hello, citizens of Gotham. What's up? My name is Graham Eld. You're watching the Bitcoin Vigilante, which we are doing now, calling it. We're moving a new channel. Bitcoin Hollywood. I just put it up. It's going to be more Bitcoin focused entertainment. Dramas, comedies, news, sports. Maybe more news. So that is at youtube.com/@Bitcoin Hollywood. Check that out. Go subscribe. There's just a couple of videos on it now. I'm going to be putting more videos up. I'm going to be putting videos up from this past. I did a bunch of great interviews this past week in Vegas. I was at the Bitcoin conference in Vegas, which was great. Also did shows at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club at the MGM, which is just a fantastic club. My first time working there. The other two comics I worked with were great. They're two guys I know, Tom Thakar and Michael Loftus, very funny guys. And the club was very well run. It was a great time. It was just a blast. And then during the day, I was just on the conference at the Venetian, just talking to Bitcoiners. It was so cool. It's always great to be in that space around people that get it, people that have been in the space a long time, people that are sort of new, that are going to the conference to learn more about it. There's always more to learn. I've been in the Bitcoin space for about 6 years, and there's still more to learn, which is a thing I like. I like about just there's more to uncover, there's more to learn, there's more to understand, and there's just great people to talk to. I've got some interviews coming up with Miss Bitcoin. She's, and also a non-for-profit in El Salvador. We talked with this guy, Bob McDonald, who runs this basically housing for young women and who've been trafficked or sexually assaulted and giving them housing. And many of them have children, small children. And it's just a fantastic organization that Alejandro, who's Miss Bitcoin, turned me on to. And so I'm going to be dropping those interviews. I talked with this woman, Olivia, from one of the sponsors of Gemini, which is a Bitcoin sponsor, and they're starting a new credit card where you can get paid in Bitcoin rewards. And I know BlockFi did that, and some of you might be a little hesitant from that because BlockFi got tangled up in the FTX thing, which I had some funds on BlockFi, but I ended up getting them back. So but they're coming up with a thing where you can self-custody your Bitcoin and attach a wallet to it when you use this card, so it immediately goes into your wallet, not theirs. There's no annual fee, and you could just make Bitcoin buying daily purchases. Not stuff you don't need, but just run all your expenses through it. So that was an interesting interview. I talked with John Cheneau, who I met down in El Salvador. He used to work for Swan, and he's a surfer, and he's doing a documentary about Bitcoiners, and he's raising money for it. And he's got this autographed surfboard. It's really, really awesome. Just talking to him. I talked with a lot of people who are just independent voters and why they're independent voters, why Bitcoin attracts a lot of independents. I was doing interviews for Open Primaries and organizations I've worked for in the past. We've had John Updike on this show, who runs Open Primaries. So it was really cool week. I met so many awesome people. And I talked with one of the organizers with Bitcoin Inc., which is the company that oversees the Bitcoin conference and the things they've got going on, which is cool. They're bringing the conference back to Vegas next year. So April of 2026, they'll be in Vegas. I'll be there too, which will be cool. I saw a lot of my friends from El Salvador, which was great. I saw Sandy Waves, who's been on the show before, and my interview with her in El Salvador when I first went down there 2 years ago. So it was really, really cool. And Max and Stacy were on some panels, and I talked with them briefly. They're very busy. They're very busy at an event like that. So, but it was cool. It was cool to see everybody and see how the Bitcoin world is growing, and interviewed a guy that's, they're Brazilian, and him and his wife took this traditional Brazilian dessert and sort of made a newer sort of American version of it. It tasted so good. And because he's a Bitcoiner, he's like, we accept Bitcoin on our website. And so a lot of cool stuff. I interviewed Mona Sheikh. She was there. looking at all the different, people that she knows down there and organizations that she potentially is going to partner with her Web3 as a joke platform, which is a lot of fun. I did that show. I've done it in LA a couple of times. I did it in Hong Kong. It was great. So really cool conference. If you're new to Bitcoin, I would suggest going to one of these conferences just to learn about it, and go to the panels and listen to these people and learn about it and talk with other Bitcoiners, and don't be like, oh, they're not, people are going to make fun of me because I don't know what it is. No. Bitcoiners love going, oh, you're new. Let me tell you about this and this. We love talking about it. So, it's not like Fight Club. It's the first rule of Bitcoin is everyone talks about it because they love it. They get hooked on it. So, yeah. So that's what was Bitcoin Vegas. It was my first time going to this big Bitcoin conference. It was in Nashville the year before. It was in Nashville a couple of years, and then it was in Miami before that. And, they're coming back to Vegas next year, and they've got the same organization also is doing Bitcoin conference in Hong Kong in August, and the Bitcoin MENA, which is, I think, Europe. And that might be towards the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. But just a great week, man, doing shows at night at Brad Garrett's and then interviewing people at the Bitcoin conference during the day and seeing friends. It was just a blast. It was a blast. So I posted a clip from Brad Garrett's. I'll probably post a couple more. It was just that's such a well-run club, and the crowds are fun. So I had a blast. I had a blast there. And I'm sure I'll be back doing more shows in Vegas at Brad Garrett's. I don't have any tour dates for Vegas right now, but I'm sure that'll happen I'll obviously put those on my website. Currently you can go July 3rd. So in a month from today, we're doing our Anything Can Happen game show at the Westside Comedy Theater in Santa Monica. So that's July 3rd. Get your tickets. Those are available at grahamelwood.com. So check that out. Let's do our first segment. Boy, we've been so shadow banned here. The viewership is so shadow banned. Wow. Shadow banned. Let us get our first segment lined up. This is the new channel to go. Just subscribe to it. It helps us out. If you go there, bam. What else is going on? Yeah, and then there's some cool film and TV projects we're working on that are starting to come together. Can't make an announcement just yet, but they're coming together. So that is exciting. And I think there's going to be some really solid partnerships with people within the Bitcoin community that are really receptive to being involved in like scripted film and TV content, comedy, stuff that's like funded by Bitcoin and will accept Bitcoin for the payments and all that stuff. So that is being worked on. Maybe. All right, so let me get this. Let me get this set up. All right. Yeah, this is something I got to look up real quick. All right. What's up, Wendy Grafton? Hello. Free Palestine, indeed. Let me get this queued up. We'll get into our second segment. It's frozen. What's going on? All right, we'll be back with our first hot, fresh segment. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching the Bitcoin Vigilante here in Bitcoin Hollywood. So I've been very vocal from the jump. I'm very anti-war. I don't like spending money in all these endless wars. And I've been critical of the Democrats when they've done that. I am critical of Trump when he is doing that. The American empire's insatiable need to constantly fund, support, and engage in war is, it needs to end. Well, now there's sort of something interesting is happening. So with Trump winning pretty decidedly in November, a lot of his supporters are anti-interventionist. They're like, I don't want to spend all this money on Ukraine and funding Israel to bomb Gaza. I don't want that. That itching, right? It's like somebody just like bit the back of my neck. It's itching so much. Sorry. And so there's some disputes happening within the Republican Party because they control the House, they control the Senate. As I've said, when Trump won big like this, I go, there's no excuses now. You can't blame the Democrats. You can't say, oh, the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi got in the way. Nah, you guys control everything. So Lindsey Graham, it's just come out, was into the Ukraine, and him and another senator spent over $800,000 on fancy hotels, right? So now Steve Bannon just said this in an interview he was on Cuomo show. And I can't say I'm a huge Steve Bannon fan or Cuomo. They're just like, they're part of the same, they're on different sides of the same corrupt coin. Anyway, here's what he had to say on that. And this was what was in the Hill, right? So this is fascinating to see this. Graham should be arrested if he keeps stirring it up in Ukraine. This is, Bannon is pretty much a Trump loyalist. And this is what he said. MAGA insider and former Trump White House chief strategist Steve Bannon said Monday that Senator Lindsey Graham, one of Kiev's strongest backers in Congress, should be arrested if he doesn't stop traveling overseas and stirring it up in Ukraine. Bannon expressed his frustration over Ukraine's stunning drone strike on Russia's strategic bombing fleet, which destroyed 40 aircraft deep inside Russian territory, giving Ukraine forces a potential morale boost. Bannon said the White House should condemn the military strike and crack down on Graham's diplomacy. The senator applauded Ukraine's resourcefulness. The White House has to condemn the immediate and pull all support and tell Lindsey Graham to come home, or we're going to put you under arrest when you come home. You're stirring it up, Bannon said Monday on his War Room podcast. He accused Graham, who met with Ukrainian President Zelensky on Friday, of working behind President Trump's back. Lindsey Graham over there saying, hey, forget Trump. I got the House and the Senate. We're going to pass it. You're going to see something in a couple of days. Bannon said, referring to legislation Graham has sponsored to sanction Russia and countries that buy his products. He's stirring it up over there. So this is this is the insanity of American politics, right? This is the insanity of American politics, right? Again, I voted third party. I didn't vote for Harris. I didn't vote for Trump. But, you know, when Zelensky came into the Oval Office and Trump, you know, said, kind of called Zelensky out. And obviously the way Trump did it was very much like a reality TV show, because that's what Trump does. And everyone was like, liberals were like all mad, like, what is he doing? And suddenly liberals are like pro-war, which this is the problem with the two-party system. Everyone just has to say the other side is wrong. It's like when Biden 4 years ago in 2021 pulled out of Afghanistan. Now, I didn't like how Biden pulled us out of Afghanistan, but ultimately I'm glad he did. And conservatives are like, oh, he's destabilizing the region and this and that. Well, we spent $3.5 trillion over 20 years in Afghanistan. 4 presidents from both political parties spent this money. And all we did was replace the Taliban with a more heavily armed Taliban, because we left behind something like $83 billion in weaponry that now the Taliban has. So, but here we are 4 years later. Was that 21 or we're coming up on 4 years later. I'm glad we haven't been spending money in Afghanistan the last 3-4 years. I'm just done with America spending endless money on endless wars. So again, I don't like how Biden did it, but I'm glad he just said we're done. And I don't like how Trump has handled this with Zelensky, but to call Zelensky out and say, you don't just get a blank check anymore. And I would love to see there'd be no more war in Ukraine. But then liberals, like, in the same way conservatives just have to say everything Biden did was wrong. And I didn't like Biden. He was a bad president. I didn't vote for him. But that, I was glad he did that. And I'm glad Trump is saying, let's stop spending money in Ukraine. And let's try to broker some peace. Now, there've been peace talks, and then Putin still bombs during the peace talks. And I'm not saying Putin is some Gandhi. He certainly isn't. I don't like that he invaded Ukraine. But America has helped stir this up. And it's just interesting to see the Republican Party start to fight within itself, because the war machine is the war machine. You know, anytime there's a war, no one in the media, no one in either party says, how are we going to pay for it? They only say, how are we going to pay for it when it comes to good stuff? Oh, Medicare for all. Boy, how are we going to pay for that? Well, I don't know. We'll pay for it the same way we pay for all these wars. We'll just print the money. I mean, like, if we're just going to print money, why don't we print money for good stuff? I mean, we could print all the money we've printed for war and for Wall Street bailouts. If instead of giving Wall Street bailouts like we did after the 2008 housing crash, or the bailouts we gave during COVID, small business owners such as myself, we still have to pay back our SBA and our PPP loans. Big multi-billion-dollar corporations in Wall Street, they had their loans forgiven. The $10 trillion we've spent on the global war on terror since 9/11. Shouldn't terrorism be done for $10 trillion? Just to give you an idea, a billion seconds goes back to 1993. A trillion seconds goes back to 30,000 BC. That's how much a trillion is. So my point here is, why are we only just print money so that the wealthy and the big companies and the big industries and the war machine just get a blank check? Why don't we, if we're going to print that kind of money, why don't we do it so we all have free healthcare? Why don't we do it so there's free college tuition? Why do we do it so there's no more homeless? Why don't we do it so there's high-speed rail coast to coast? Why do we do it so America has a state-of-the-art infrastructure? I know what state-of-the-art infrastructure looks like. I've been to Singapore. I've seen it. Singapore is the cleanest, nicest, safest, most functioning city on planet Earth. I've been to China, and their infrastructure just keeps getting better and better and better. So why can't we have that here? So, you know, seeing the right wing eat itself is kind of fun to watch. Just like I love it when the Democrats eat each other. I don't like either one of these parties. They are the problem. The two-party system is the problem. It's why I'm an independent voter. It's why I own Bitcoin, and why when Bitcoiners are like, when Bitcoin people try to make Bitcoin a political issue, oh, it's a conservative thing, or no. Bitcoin is just a tool, like money. It's a tool, like a hammer. And if a hammer is used to hurt people or smash things, then it's bad. If the hammer is used to build housing for the homeless, it's good. So Bitcoin for me is a way against it. The more regular people that own it. I know these big institutional banks, and they're all BlackRock, they're all buying up Bitcoin, which is why I've been saying to you guys, you need to get some for yourself, because you become your own bank then. And if we regular people, there only will ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever mined. And currently over 96% of the total supply, over 19 million, has been mined. So if we all own a little bit of it, and you can buy as little of it for $10, we are taking power away from the central banks, which fund the wars. This is why I've always believed Bitcoin is a lefty, activist, democratic, socialist tool. And I got a book coming out that's going to tell you more about that. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Please, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, this Political Vigilante channel has been so shadow banned. We're now below 70,000 subscribers. We used to be at like 80,000. So I'm starting a new channel. It's called Bitcoin Hollywood. Go to youtube.com/@BitcoinHollywood and subscribe to it right now. It only has a handful of videos on it. We're going to do videos like this. We're going to do more scripted stuff, comedy, travel videos, cool stuff. We'll still talk politics. We'll still talk some politics over there. But we're going to do more cool entertainment and do a little Bitcoin education in the process. Every video won't be like nonstop Bitcoin talking. Don't worry. There's going to be cool stuff over there. I've got all this stuff in the works. I've got some travel videos I made when I was in Asia that are being edited right now. And, cool stuff's coming. So go support that. Like, share, subscribe, follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth, and shave your knuckles for justice. Ba-boom. What's up, Annabelle? Good to see you. I agree. Only good thing Trump has to do is say no more open check for Ukraine. If USA is done, same to Israel. Yeah, exactly. Did I hear about Aussie elections? We voted out conservatives and its leader. Oh, wow. Right on. Nice. Good for you. I love Australia. I got to get back there. I haven't been there since 2019. I got to get back. One of the things I'm working on, I can't go into big details, but there's going to be more sort of tour travel stuff happening. And I'm lining that up. So stay tuned. Just subscribe to Bitcoin Hollywood. Thank you. Yes, go to Bitcoin Hollywood and subscribe. You might be the second or third subscriber, or maybe the first. And hit the bell notification. And, I'll start posting more videos. This week, I'm going to start dropping a lot of the interviews I did in Vegas. I'll drop them here as well, but I just want to start going over to that new channel, because once we get it up to where we can live stream, and I want to just start sending people over there, because this one's been so shadow banned. And I talked to a couple companies that specialize in like marketing for YouTube channels, and they both two different companies said it's so hard to pull a channel out of shadow banning. It's not impossible, but it takes a long time. They said it might be better to just start a second channel and send your audience over there. So that's cool. I can't super chat. I'm in Japan. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're in Japan. So that's so great. I love Japan. I saw you're in Kyoto. I've never been to Kyoto. Next time I go to Japan, I got to visit Kyoto. I got a bunch of friends in Tokyo I need to see, and I need to go to Kyoto. I got to go there. I gotta go there. So I will be there. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's get our next segment ready, guys. Let's get our next segment ready. Japan is so great. I love Japan. I was just thinking about one of my friends in Tokyo. I got to give them a call. I got to just say, hey, how you doing? How's it going? I need to say, arigatou gozaimasu. Konnichiwa. Oh, you're going to Hiroshima today. Oh, wow. Whew. Well, go with God. All right, here comes our next hot, fresh segment. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Out, and you are watching the Bitcoin Vigilante here in Bitcoin Hollywood. Support what we're doing. That is on chain, you guys. And also, I forgot to put this out there. This is another way to support what we're doing. Scrolling below. I'm starting a new channel, new YouTube channel called Bitcoin Hollywood. It's going to talk Bitcoin. It's going to have scripted content, comedy, drama, everything. It's brand new. It's only a couple videos on there now. We're going to be posting more videos and interviews with Bitcoin people, but it's not going to be just Bitcoin. It's going to be all different kinds of content. Might have a little bit of BTC in there, but please go to youtube.com/@BitcoinHollywood and subscribe. Why do I like talking about it? Well, I think it's a way to empower regular people. You can get out of the central bank, casino gulag of working and fiat currency and going into debt to barely get by and paying taxes that fund wars and all this other nonsense. You can get out of it. You can get out of it. And whether you love Trump or hate him, he's a pro Bitcoin president. And like I've said, I don't know that he personally gets it, maybe, but Cynthia Lummis does. And since the United States has passed a strategic reserve bill, which is basically there's 195,000 full Bitcoins that the United States has seized over the years. And what that strategic reserve bill that was passed earlier this year in like late January or February says that those coins cannot be sold. They have to be held in a reserve like the gold in Fort Knox. Trump's campaign promise of buying 800,000 more Bitcoin to get America's total reserve number to 1 million coins. Some people are not sure if he's going to be able to get that done. There's some resistance. Not every Republican, and the Republicans control the House and the Senate, agree with that. So we'll see if that happens. But what is happening now, several states have passed Bitcoin strategic reserve bills. And why I personally think this is more important for a state, because states, the federal government can just print money. Local and state governments can only get money from taxes. Now they get some federal funding, and sure, the federal government can print money and give it to the states. But for the most part, a state's budget is kind of like your and I's household budget. We have to earn money. So the states get tax, sales tax and income tax and corporate tax. And then they use that money to fund all of the state's programs. Well, I think every state should be putting some of their reserves into Bitcoin. I've done stories on this show of how there's, I don't know, might be upwards of 10 states' pension funds. Wisconsin does it, Michigan, and a handful of others have taken their pension funds and bought Bitcoin with it. I've talked about like the Houston Fire Department's pension fund, and more like police, firefighters, city pension funds are doing this. What this will do is make those cities and those states and those pension funds actually have money and financial power. A lot of pension funds have gone bankrupt because they've gambled the money. So a new state is where I'm living. California just passed this. And I'm like, wow, California hasn't been on the smart side of things a lot, but this is really smart. And this is the thing. I'm glad that they're doing this, because it's not, when people think Bitcoin is a political, oh, well, Trump likes Bitcoin, so I don't like Trump, so I'm against Bitcoin. That's a ridiculous statement. Bitcoin is neither conservative nor liberal. It is just currency. It's just digital currency. But look what just passed, which this is very impressive.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker and members. I proudly rise to present AB 1180 that would establish a pilot program authorizing the Department of Financial Protection and innovation to allow for the payment of fees using digital financial assets. This will be a first of its kind. Very excited about this. Having gone to school at San Jose State during the time that this technology was being created, I firmly believe this will be fully integrated into our society in the near future. Respectfully ask for a yes vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Valencia. All debate having ceased, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 68, no 0. Measure passes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker and members.
Okay, so yeah, and just to clarify, I forgive me, they didn't pass the strategic reserve. They're saying they were going to accept payments in Bitcoin and other digital currencies, which I think that's a step in the right direction. And hopefully what they'll do with that is they'll hold on to it. Now, that's significant because that's a step towards adoption. And that means that the state is going to collect Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And then hopefully they'll pass a bill that makes a reserve that holds on to it, which will empower the state of California to be wealthier in the future. If states start doing this, you're not going to hear about, oh, this state's bankrupt and that city's bankrupt. You know, in the city of Santa Monica, where I live, they're facing a huge financial crisis. COVID crushed them. Because again, states and counties lost tax revenue. You know, Santa Monica is a big tourist place. No one was going, everything was shut down because of COVID. So, and then there was riots in Santa Monica. That cost a lot of money. Then there's a lot of lawsuits the city of Santa Monica has to pay. So the city is bankrupt. And a lot of cities are facing this. So I hope the city of Santa Monica starts accepting Bitcoin the way the state of California does, because it will get people out of this financial glut or crash that we're kind of in and ramping up to getting worse. And this is why I'm just a firm believer Bitcoin is a hedge against all of these things. And why I tell again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a paid financial advisor, but my just opinion, take at least 5 to 10% of your assets and put it into Bitcoin and put it into a cold wallet. And you can learn about that at bitcoin.com's YouTube channel. They have a Bitcoin 101 playlist. Also, the Swan Bitcoin YouTube channel has it's called self-custody. Learn how to do that. I didn't understand any of this digital shit at all. When I didn't get it at all, but I slowly started educating myself more and more and more and more and more. So you're going to want to learn this because this is the currency of the future. I'm telling you. And whether you like Trump or don't like him, he's the president for the next 4 years and he's pro Bitcoin. So, and the state of California is going to start accepting it. And other states are creating strategic reserves. Check to see if your state has that. If they don't, email them. Are you a member of a company that has a big pension fund? Are you in a union? Reach out to them and say, hey, can we start converting? And go look online. Just type in unions, pensions that have Bitcoin in them. Just type that in and you'll see all of these articles will come up, and send those. I sent them to my union. Send them to your union, send them to your employer and say, can we at least just put 5% of our pension plan into Bitcoin and Bitcoin only? Don't worry with the altcoins. Don't do that. Just do Bitcoin only. Just see. You'll thank yourself for it years down the road. And what also mass adoption does, and when states and cities and municipalities and pension funds start buying Bitcoin or accepting Bitcoin, it means the price is going to go up. If the United States government starts buying Bitcoin in huge chunks of like 100, 200,000 at a time, which they're talking about doing, that means other countries, Russia, China specifically, will have to compete. And other smaller countries have already passed strategic reserve bills like Panama. So they're looking, a lot of the Latin American countries are looking over the fence going, wow, look what El Salvador's done. So don't be blinded by political rhetoric to think that Bitcoin is a bad thing. It isn't. I'm a lefty. I'm an anti-war, pro-labor, democratic socialist. Believe me, there's not a lot of us in the Bitcoin space, but I view it as a socialist thing. I think it's a tool for activism. So, support what we're doing. You can donate Bitcoin to this channel on chain. There's other ways to donate fiat there. Like, share, subscribe. If you're like, where do I get Bitcoin? You can go to swanbitcoin.com/Graham Elwood, and you get, where is it? I'll put this on the screen. You get $10 in free Bitcoin. Bam. You buy $100 in Bitcoin using this coupon code, my affiliate code here, you get a free $10, and then I get $10. So you're just buying $100 worth of Bitcoin. It immediately becomes $110, and you're supporting the show without even giving me any money. You're just buying something for yourself, and we both benefit. And then go to Swan's YouTube channel and learn. And then watch other YouTube shows like Simply Bitcoin. We've had Nico Moran on this show. Simply Bitcoin is a huge Bitcoin podcast where all they do is talk Bitcoin. Go follow those guys. Go listen to them. There's a lot of great content creators out there that are giving you good information. There's also the book, The Bitcoin Standard. I would read that, or Inventing Bitcoin. Those two books, very simple reads, easily digestible, easily explained. I read those. I was like, oh, I get it. And read the book twice. Read it again. Get more knowledgeable. Educate yourself so you are empowered. So when the central banks collapse, the dollar could collapse. The U.S. government could collapse. We don't know, but if you got Bitcoin, in the long run, you'll be good. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth, shave your knuckles for justice. Here, bing. Shazam. $5 worth of Bitcoin incoming. What's up, Super Polish? Let me check that real quick. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for supporting our show with Bitcoin, dude. That's really awesome. Bam. Bitcoin is dipping to 105,000. It's crazy. Well, thank you, my friend, for supporting the show. Graham, remember Toastergate in Adelaide? I will never forget. So funny. Oh, that was such a blast. Going on the road with Ron is so funny. Japanese food is so good. I've been eating it. Oh, I defy you to get a bad meal, to have a bad meal in Japan. I defy you. It's not going to happen. They won't allow it. It's like getting a bad meal in Italy. It ain't going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Unless somebody throws dirt in it or something. It's all good. Hello, Chris. Hello, Annabelle. Hello, Super Polish. Bitcoin Hollywood, so flashy. Nice. Japanese people, yeah, they're just so nice. Wendy, thank you. Good to see it. Good to see a lot of you fine folks in the chat, in the Chizat. Boom. Thank you, Super Polish, for supporting the show. No confirmations on the change. I give it a few more minutes. Yeah, no worries, dude. I know on-chain always takes a little longer. Boom. Super Polish. Shave your knuckles for Jello. More justice. Whatever you're into, dude. I'm not judging. Not judging if you're a Jello guy. That's cool. Boom. Pa-pow. All right, guys. That is our shizow. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting what we do. Again, start going to Bitcoin Hollywood. Subscribe if you can right now. YouTube.com/@Bitcoin Hollywood. Subscribe. Hit the bell notification button. There's like 2 videos there. Go in and like them and put positive stuff in the comments. That helps. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys supporting me. We will be doing government secrets tomorrow. Just got confirmation from Lee Camp. We'll be doing Bitcoin. God, I'm talking too fast. Slow down, Graham. Breathe. We will be doing government secrets tomorrow. That is Wednesday, June 4th at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Government Secrets, Wednesday, noon and 3. Love and light to all of you. Thank you, Annabelle. Thank you, Super Polish, Wendy, Chris, everybody in the chat. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Free Assange, absolutely. You love government secrets. Keep it up. Yes. I love doing government secrets. I love doing government secrets. When I'm like directing big budget A-list Hollywood movies, I will still do government secrets. That's happening. And I will still do government secrets. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. We will see you tomorrow, Wednesday, June 4th at noon Pacific time for Gov Seeks. Beep, 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 beep. Thanks, everybody. Follow the Money Connected Dots. Get the truth. That's how we make Gotham great again. And shave your knuckles for justice. Kapow!